Today we will be discussing a very important chapter in O-level business, and that is classification of business. Let's move. There are three types of main classifications of business, wherein we divide all types of business activities. Number one is the primary sector business. This is the most basic form of business or basic classification of business. This includes firms that extract natural resources. So whenever your business is dealing with extraction of natural resources, farming, agriculture, that is classified as primary sector business activity. Oil extraction is also a part of primary sector activity. Fishing is part of primary sector activity. So whenever you are extracting or you're getting primary raw material out of nature, that is called primary sector business activity. Whenever we are extracting natural resources, we are engaged in primary sector business activity. But when we add value to those natural resources, to those raw material, and make finished goods, then that is called secondary sector business activity, wherein firms manufacture products from natural resources, for example, computers, baking, and construction. Right? So whenever you are using the raw materials and producing finished goods in industries and factories, then you are engaging in secondary sector business activity. Right? The last classification is the tertiary sector, and this relates to services. For example, I am providing a teaching service right now. So this is a tertiary sector business activity. Similarly, banking is a tertiary sector business activity. Similarly, beauty parlors and salons, they are also providing services, so they are also tertiary sector business activity. These are firms that provide services, for example, insurance, banking, and hotels. So this is how business classification works. Generally, the developing economies are focused on primary sector business activity, and the developed world moves from primary to secondary and mostly tertiary sector. So US economy is basically a tertiary sector economy now. The biggest companies are Facebook, Google, and Amazon. They're all service sector companies. And countries like Pakistan, which are developing countries, they focus on primary sector business activity like agriculture and farming, etc. Right? The relative importance of economic sector in any economy. The importance of each sector in any economy depends on the following. Number one, percentage of workers employed. So if you want to see which sector is most important for any economy, you just go and see how many, what is the percentage of people that is employed in that particular sector. For example, in Pakistan, majority is employed in agriculture. So we know that agriculture is the most important sector in Pakistani. The second criteria is value of total output and its proportion in total national output. You also need to see what is the proportion of output of that sector to the total GDP of that country. So if a sector contributes, let's say, 50 to 60% to the GDP, then that means that that sector is very important for an economy. Similarly, if a sector only contributes 4 to 5%, for example, tertiary sector only contributes 4 to 5% of any economy, then that sector is not very important and not very critical for that economy. So in developing countries, most people are employed in primary sector like fishing and farming. Since level of income is low and most people live in rural areas, primary sector is most important in these economies. All right. So developing economies mostly focus on primary sector business activity, and the developed world is mostly focused on, let's say, secondary and largely tertiary sector activity. In the developed world, however, most people are now employed in the service or tertiary sector. Hence, this is most important sector in the developed world. As I said, the biggest companies now are all service sector companies like Facebook, Google, Amazon. They are all service sector companies. All right, and the American economy is based on these big companies. Here is the chart of deindustrialization in the developed world. So as we can see, from 1961 to 2009, the percentage of jobs in manufacturing sector have declined from almost 28% to only 9%. This means most of the people are going from manufacturing sector to the service sector. So what is the reason? Rising incomes have led consumers to spend on services, for example, Nabila, Sabs, etc. As incomes in the world have increased, people started spending more on services. They now people visit salons more than they used to do in the past, right? So that is the reason. When people become rich, they consume more and more services. Manufacturing industries of the developed world face competition from China and other developing countries with lower costs. The other reason is that developing countries like China and primarily and India to a certain extent, they offer such low labor costs or cost of business that is it's not viable for the developed world to engage in manufacturing anymore. So they do it out of economic sense because they can get things made from China in much lower costs. So why should they bear such high costs by producing those things in America or in the UK or in Europe, right? So this is also another reason for deindustrialization, that the costs of production in China and other developing countries is much low as compared to the developed world. Now we have types of economies. We'll quickly go through them. Number one is the mixed economy. What is a mixed economy? A mixed economy has both private and public sector enterprises. Pakistan is an example of a mixed economy. We have public sector and private sector. For example, steel mill is a public sector organization owned and controlled by the government. Similarly, Wheat Bank Limited is a private sector organization owned and controlled by the private sector. Right? In the private sector, businesses owned and controlled by people, for example, Procter and Gamble. So these are businesses that are only owned and controlled by the general public or the people or the investors. There's no role of government. Public sector business owned and controlled by the state. PIA is largely owned and controlled by the state, although it has shares on the stock market as well, but it is largely owned and controlled by the state of Pakistan. So the decisions rest with the government, not with the people. Now, what are the common public sector businesses? Generally, health. Many hospitals in Karachi are public sector hospitals like Jinnah Hospital, Civil Hospital. Why are they public sector? Because generally, health is a merit good, so it can be provided by private and public sector both. But generally, government engages in health sector because private sector underproduces and the health commodities. All right, because it's not a money-making product, so generally they underproduce those. The government has to intervene, and the government produces healthcare services themselves. Education again is a merit good. So education again is underprovided by the private sector. So government needs to intervene and provide education to the needy people or to people who cannot afford private sector education. So this is one sector where government actively engages in. Defense is a public good. We'll discuss it in economics. Public goods are those which can never be provided by the private sector because of their non-excludability and non-rivalry. So defense is a public good. It has to be provided by the government. This is provided by the government even in the United States. The defense is something that the government provides. Public transport again is something which is partly provided by the government, and at occasions it's also provided by the private sector in certain countries. But generally, in order, if this again is left to the private sector, it would be underprovided. Hence, public transport is managed all over the world. Water supply again, it is a public good, and hence it can only be provided by the government. It can never be provided by the private sector because then it will be underprovided, and then people would not get water. Although government provision of water supply is not very ideal, but we all know that if it's left to the private sector, then there would be a lot of high prices and exploitation of the consumers. Electricity supply again is a monopoly type of business, and it can better be provided by the government. And if it's provided by the private sector, it should be controlled by the government because generally it's a natural monopoly. So if it's left to the private sector only, then they would charge prices of their own whims. And if that happens, common people would be largely exploited. So it should be at least regulated very strictly by the government.